is Yuta Okkotsu the strongest in the modern era after Gojo's death? In terms of the modern era, I think it's clear to see now Yuta is standing head and shoulders above his peers right now, but no, not everyone is convinced. A lot of people see Yuta as a fraud, a word that absolutely haunts a lot of characters within this series, something I think is personally ruining the series because power scale and agendas go brrr, but it is what it is. But characters like Gojo, Sukuna, Kashimo, and many more have all had these fraudulent allegations flying all over the place. But when it comes to Yuta Okkotsu, this is one of the rare characters in the series that genuinely hasn't taken a single fucking L. I mean, everything this man has set out to do, he has done, and he's done it with insane style and a cold fucking look in his eyes. I mean, within a couple of months of him learning Jujutsu, his powers and what they're capable of, Yuta fought off a special grade sorcerer, Suguru Geto, whose case spirit manipulation is one of the strongest abilities in the series. And even as the fight progressed, he was getting faster and stronger and getting used to his newfound powers at an alarming fucking rate. And yes, you can argue, but Suguru was only using half of his curses, and Kenjaku stated Suguru would have won back then. And to that I say, well, look at Kenjaku right now. GG. And a big part of being a sorcerer, it's planning. And as Kenjaku is no stranger of, planning and preparation is something that we've seen throughout the series. Even the biggest of powerhouses just cannot defeat it. They always seem to be brought down by planning and preparation. The biggest example of this is Gojo. Gojo versus planning is easy winnings for planning every time. This man simply is outscaled by prep time, and it's not even close. Every single time this dude has fought someone with prep time, he just loses. Toji and fucking Kenjaku all outplayed this dude with prep time. But something Geto didn't account for was the powerhouse that is Yuta Okkotsu, stopping him and his special grade cases in their fucking tracks. And not only this, but Yuta walked into the Sendai colony and walked out the victor of possibly the hardest colony in the Culling Games, a colony that Ryu Ishigori, a reincarnated sorcerer that had boasted the highest case energy output recorded to date, an absolute powerhouse. He spent his first life searching for a fight that would allow him to go all out, and he eventually found that against Yuta Okkotsu. Then we have Druv Lagdawala, and to be honest, I'm not even going to carry on talking about this dude because this dude's intro is literally his death, and Yuta just walking away from this kid as if he was nothing. Next up, we have Takako Udo, and this one has the most fleshed out lore from inside this colony, with Udo being the captain of the Sun, Moon, and Stars squad. A squad later that we learned that this squad was actually equal to the Toe, which was another squad that Yorozu ended up soloing by herself, and it turns out they were actually pretty highly regarded as a fighting force. And then finally, we have the special grade case Kuro Roshi, who again was made short work of by Yuta in no time at all. Not just once, but twice, which I find kind of interesting here. But all the while this happened, over the course of the series, we've been given many hints and outright statements that Yuta Okkotsu will be the strongest of the next generation. And Kenjaku mentioned how he can't be the next Satoru Gojo, he just doesn't see what everyone sees in him. But Gojo heavily disagrees, with Gojo even once saying that him and a few others will be as good as him someday. And even Yuji mentioned how Yuta's chaos energy was even creepier than Gojo's, and originally actually mistook it for Gojo when he first arrived and met. And then on top of all this, we have the narrator that outright states that Yuta is second only to Gojo Satoru. Regardless of what translation you read, those words are said. The only difference is the following: it's either one of them is calling him a prodigy, or the second to Gojo only in unusual abilities. And quite frankly, after everything that we've seen so far, I'm inclined to say that it's both. But what do I know? I'm just a shitty YouTuber who really likes this character. Anyway, make sure to like and subscribe. We're really trying to hit 30,000 subscribers before the year ends, and I hear if you subscribe to this channel, you get a fat cocky increase. That's all I'm saying. But to add on to all of this, Ryu and Yuta had a conversation about Yuta's growth and how Yuta was reaching his limits, and he's seen what surpasses the horizons of sorcerers, chaos spirits, and strong fighters, and it's overwhelming aggression like a calamity, making Yuta the only person in this series who's had parallels drawn between him, Sukuna, and Gojo, which I think personally is insane. Not only this, you also have Rika, the queen of cases, and Sukuna, the king of cases. People have often theorized about these two being somewhat related in some way, shape, or form. They just haven't been able to draw the parallels between it. Now we fast forward to the current day, and we have Yuta, who's just had a time skip amount's worth of training, most likely, and then prep time for Kenjaku and Sukuna, while also watching his sensei Gojo Satoru fight to the death for the sake of his students, while being one of two people to also notice a slight speed difference in Gojo's domain against Sukuna, and also the first one to realize that Gojo used RCT on his case technique, which fed into the popular theory that should Yuta learn how to use this on his own case technique, he could ideally create an infinite loop of case energy in a similar way to Gojo, which brings me all to this moment right here. Yuta and Takaba outplaying Kenjaku, which for me, I think is something no one could have thought was possible. No one saw this coming because everyone was writing off the Takaba fight as just a gag, as filler chapters, and they didn't really care for it. But as of the time of this recording, I also want to state on record, I don't see Kenjaku dying this early, but I also didn't see this tail of events coming out. I mean, if you were watching, you knew when I was watching this shit live unfold, then I was hyped as fuck. However, I also do want to make it very, very clear, I do not see Kenjaku being beheaded and beaten by Yuta like this, and it just being over that way. But I do also want to add, seeing Kenjaku being beheaded by Yuta, who's able to move faster than Kenjaku's Curse Technique activation, the same Curse Technique that Kenjaku activated to save himself from a black hole, is kind of insane. That kind of puts Yuta's speed way, way higher up on the food chain than a lot of us thought. I know I don't do the whole power scale and stuff a lot, but that's kind of crazy. But I also want to say I've been seeing this theory going along, so I just kind of want to pop this in here right now. But this, people seem to be thinking that Yuta used Boogie Boogie, but I'm just going to say this right now, I don't think that is the case at all. For Yuta to have used Boogie Boogie in this situation, he would have had to have given up both hands on that sword. There is absolutely no way he can clap and hold that sword at the same time. This is a raw speed feat from Yuta. I refuse to believe that it is Boogie Boogie. However, I will concede the fact I absolutely do think he does have Boogie Boogie because he has previously fought Todo. I do not think he used Boogie Boogie in this situation. You have to think about it realistically. We've never seen Todo use Boogie Boogie with his hands full. It's just simply not a thing that can happen. And Yuta appears holding a sword and then appears behind Kenjaku again holding a sword. So you're trying to convince me that Yuta let go of his sword, clapped, caught the sword, reappeared behind Kenjaku, and then sliced the head off. Only he switches with Takaba. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense, the whole theory for me, so I'm not really feeling it. But to answer the initial question, is Yuta Okkotsu the strongest of the modern era after Gojo's death? As far as I'm concerned, yes. Yuta is the modern sorcerer's current strongest sorcerer as far as I'm concerned. He's proven himself multiple times. He's undefeated and he's come out on top many, many times. And as for what Gege has planned for him, I'm not sure, but I do know whatever he's going to cook is going to be perfect, and I am confident that Yuta will be a massive step against fighting Sukuna, because like Maki said, Yuta is their insurance against Sukuna should anything happen to Gojo. But that is everything from me. Massive shout out to all the members on the channel. If you see your name on here, congratulations on the fat cock, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing, because we are trying to hit 30,000 subscribers before the year ends. So as always, I will catch you guys all in the next one. Much love, big kisses, peace.